Hey, you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to share with you how I purposely gained 8 pounds over the course of probably the last 10 days or so, and the experiment that I ran to just prove the lifestyle that I have been living really does work, and why following other nutritional guidelines that are kind of deemed for the general public aren't necessarily the best for us, especially us women who are in menopause. So welcome if you're new. I always ask that you take a second to hit that subscribe button. And I also ask that you take a second to hit that little bell notification. That way, when I do upload new content, you will be notified and you can stop by and check it out. This is by no means any sort of diss or discredit to the Lumen device. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. I absolutely love the device. I think it is a very intelligent tool for us to use to help us determine if our lifestyle choices are actually going to help us yield the result that we're hoping for. But what I'm going to take you through is the experiment that I just did using the Lumen nutritional guidelines and what that ended up resulting for me. And I'm going to also make sure that I link, I think it goes on this side, the video that I did just a week ago where I shared how I used the Lumen to also lose 8 pounds. And so my goal is to come back here in about a week or two and share with you again how I lost this 8 pounds that I just gained by going back to what I know works for my body. So let's get started. So the experiment that I decided to do over the course of this last 10 days or so was to utilize the nutritional guidelines that were offered to me based on the results that I was getting with my Lumen. Prior to this little experiment, I was using my own nutritional experience and guidelines along with the results that I was getting from my Lumen. And that's what was dictating how I would manage my nutritional intake based on the results I was getting with the Lumen and what I knew worked for my body. That's how I was able to really utilize and tap into that fat storage and lose that 8 pounds that was primarily body fat just a few weeks ago. What I did over the course of this last little test was I used the suggested macros from my Lumen, and I didn't use what I had been using in the past, because I felt that as a coach for women and someone who is helping women get the results that they want with the Lumen, I had to test both theories. I had to test what I was doing and what I know about my own nutritional suggestions. And then I wanted to also test what was just given to me with my device. And so this is what the device generally gave me over the course of the past week or so when I was utilizing it through the breath analyzation of whether my body was utilizing carbohydrates or fat as energy sources. I am an avid exerciser, so I work out every day about 60 minutes a day. Generally, that's cardio primarily, and then I always make sure that I get about a 10 or 15-minute strength workout. So these macro guidelines were based not only on what my breath analyzation was, but it was also based on the exercise time frame that I pumped into my Lumen also. So on average, my recommendation was about 165 macros of carbohydrates, about 140 macros or grams, not macros, grams of fat. So 165 grams of carbs, about 140 grams of fats, and about 130 grams of protein. So this was the average daily macro recommendation for me based on what my breath analyzation was and what my exercise minutes were for the day. So it generally worked out to about 3 meals a day. And to get all of this food in the course of my day, I had to shorten my fast to about 16 hours a day. So if you're been following me for any length of time, you know I am really adamant about 20 hours of fasting, especially for women who are trying to reverse a lot of the sugar backup and sugar related diseases that a lot of us are dealing with, insulin resistance, fat storage, all of those hormonal imbalances. And I also really, really encourage, or what I coach women on, is not really managing macros so much, but really figuring out what food works for you so that you can tap into a utilization type of atmosphere for your body, or what we like to call here the energized sense of calm. When your body is internally producing energy and you're not relying on your food sources to kind of get you through these type of experiences throughout the day, you have an energized, even sense of calm based on the utilization opportunity you're creating in your body. So I followed these pretty closely. I can tell you that the feelings that I had over the course of the last, week and a half or so were not fun. I felt like I was cramming food in my body throughout the day. I felt very preoccupied about calculating food out and measuring food and tracking food. I felt very thick is the best term that I can use. I felt very weighed down, and there was a sense of almost sadness that I felt just by feeling like I was constantly in a state of feeding, which is exactly the opposite of the way I generally feel with the lifestyle that I've created that has allowed me to become so healthy as a menopausal woman. So this was definitely an experience of feeling like I was forcing food in my body, and the result was not a good feeling. Throughout my workouts, when I was eating this much food and only fasting for this amount of time, I was not able to get like that internal energy, and it was really hard for me to also manage my heart rate when I was in this phase of feeding throughout the 10-day period. So it was not a good experience for me. And I did feel very mentally and emotionally weighed down by all the food decisions that I had to make. So this is not a happy place for me to live. And from what I can tell, I did this experiment with a group of women that I'm coaching. So there was, I think, about 6 of us that did the same thing. I said, hey, let's just follow the suggested macros on our Lumen for a week and see what happens. And everyone came back with the same mental and emotional feelings. They thought they were going crazy because they felt very weighed down. They felt very sluggish. They felt very fatigued. And they started to get that sense of almost like a sadness about how it was they were showing up and kind of feeling how they were moving about their day. So we all felt what I like to say food poisoned almost. We were just weighed down. Here's what I do normally and what I'm going to go back to. It started yesterday actually to get me back into a utilization stage. These are the macros that I ended up without even trying, just going off how I intuitively eat, and how I am able to maintain, no insulin resistance, no diabetic states, and how I really put my body in a utilization of food energy stage as opposed to a storage. I generally consume less than 75 grams of carbs a day. Optimally, I'm about 50 without even trying or denying anything. I'm between 50 and 75 grams of carbs a day. My fats is really where I get the most amount of energy and kind of support throughout the day, even through my exercise. And that's shooting for, or just knowing that about 100 grams of fats is where I actually feel my best. And then less than 40 grams of protein. Now, here's where the nutrition and fitness industry absolutely loses their mind in this area and this area, because this is really the guidelines that most people will tell you you need to stay in to support your body and to support what it is you want to do in your fitness. This left me in a weight gain, a storage of energy mode, meaning I would have to exercise away this in order to maintain what it is that I want to maintain, not only in my fitness, but my physique. And that is a really unhealthy mindset for me around food. So I don't like to feel like I'm eating to just exercise away the food. This is also one of those areas that I just don't have the body chemistry or even the hormones anymore to properly utilize this heavy of a day of food in a 16-hour fasted state even with exercise. So this is really what I teach women in my intermittent fasting course, and what I teach women about managing what feels good to you and not letting other people dictate to you what they think is going to work best. This is where I am at my prime. This is where I feel the energized sense of calm. This is where my workouts are their absolute best, even as a 55-year-old woman. I operate like a conditioned athlete when I follow this style of nutrition for myself. I do that within 2 meals in a day. So that means I work out. I usually put a little fat in my coffee post workout just to kind of maintain my energy throughout the rest of the day. And I stay in a fasted state until I have one of my 2 meals later in the day. Now, when you have a pure fat, remember, you can stay in a fasted state as long as you're not fasting for cellular recovery. So when I say fasting, I mean the opportunity for my body to tap in and utilize what I have in storage as energy. So I'm in a utilization stage when I add some fats to my coffee post workout. And I generally fast between 18 and 20 hours. So the majority of my day is not really concerned with this. I have this within my 2 meals. This is where I am burning fat as my primary source of energy, and I am in that energized sense of calm. This is where I am now and where I will stay with using the Lumen as my tool to prove that this works for me. The other thing I wanted to say about the Lumen is the Lumen tells us whether we are metabolically flexible or how metabolically flexible we are, and the improvements that we can make on that through nutritional choices that we're making, how well we're sleeping, and what we're doing through our exercise. When I was following this, my metabolic flexibility was on the rise. And when I was following this, my metabolic flexibility declined because I was always in a storage mode. My body and my lifestyle, my chemistry, my hormones don't afford me the opportunity to utilize this much food within a 24-hour period. My body is in a utilization mode when I provide an environment for my body to take in nutrients, utilize them, put them where they need to go, and then tap into the things that I have in storage to fuel me through the rest of the day. So if you're a woman who's feeling frustrated with her body and you are perimenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal, and you're living more of a lifestyle that looks like this or looks like this, and you're not happy with the results that you're getting, I would really, really recommend experimenting with a lifestyle like this. This is what I call the keto-like approach to nutrition. Higher naturally occurring fats, moderate to low amounts of protein, and a very conscious carbohydrate type of nutritional plan. When you figure out what grouping of macro counts work for you, then all you have to do is rinse and repeat that throughout the days that you're exercising, or maybe pull back on days that you're not exercising. And then really know that you can get enough nutrition in 2 meals with an 18 to 20 hour fasting protocol, giving yourself that 4 hours to feast. Like I said, I exercise every day. I'm a runner. I generally run between 45 and 60 minutes a day, and I can do that very efficiently and very effectively on this type of macro plan. So I hope this helps. I hope this encourages you to do a little digging around and a little research and even some experimenting with the food lifestyle that you have incorporated for yourself. As we age, we just don't need as much food as we used to. You're not going to put yourself in starvation mode. You're going to allow an opportunity for your body to utilize the energy that you have available so that you don't put yourself in storage mode. I hope this encourages you to do a little research and to do some thinking for yourself about what food makes sense for you, what type of fasting window will make sense for you, so that you can tap into the utilization of your energy and not become a storage bank for it. Please make sure that you leave me some comments in the comment section below. Ask me any questions that you would like. I will be sharing an update, like I said, with the progress that I'm going to make going back to what I know works for me. It was a really fun experience. I don't feel any kind of emotional connection to the weight that I've picked up or any of the body fat that my body has stored, because I know exactly what to do to reverse it and get me back where I was before I started. So I hope that encourages you as well. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you guys back here on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. If you haven't already done so, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't joined my email list yet, all the information on how to do that is included down below. Every month on the first Saturday of each new month, I start a new intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course where I teach you all the things that you need to know about intermittent fasting and some things to consider about your body and how you can decide how you want to age. I would love to see you in one of my future classes.